I'm in her home right now, and I can't believe really I'm in her home because when my mother was alive, my mother got remarried, and her husband, he didn't like me. Even though I knew her husband since I was about the age of 14, and he'd been with my mother that long. And when they got married, her and him bought this house, and I was never invited into my mother's home because he just don't like me. And my mom, she's from an era where the women's just stay put. Nowadays we have domestic violence shelters, and we have domestic violence counseling where women's know domestic violence, or when they're in a situation that's like domestic violence, they don't have to stay in it. But being that my mom was from a different era, and she saw me go through so much, my mother. She saw when I tried to leave my children's father. I did leave him, but it didn't turn out too good for me because I became homeless. I became homeless for maybe about 15 years. And when my mother, I was very angry at my mother for a long time too, because I felt that, she has a home and she could have helped me a lot of times, but she wasn't there for me like how I would like for her had to been, like I would have liked for her to have been there. But even though all of that, I love my mother. I just didn't like how she treated me, but I have always loved my mother. And her husband, he really didn't like me at all. So one time my mom, I'm gonna tell you a story. She allowed me in her house. Me and her was talking, and I was in the shelter, like I was saying, for a long time. And my mother allowed me to come in her home, this home right here where I'm sitting at right now, filming. And her husband didn't want me to be here. I can hear me keep saying her husband. I know his name, but I just don't like the man, so I'm not going to say his name. But anyway, he got so angry at my mom because I was at her house. He beat me up. I was coming down the steps. He was standing at the bottom of the steps. And he's knocked me in my forehead with something that I felt back. But whatever he knocked me in my forehead with, it started bleeding. And I screamed because I didn't know he was going to hit me. And then when I got up, he just beat me, continued beating me all on my head and my face with a video camcorder. It was a long story, but he really hurt me. He really was hitting. Nobody never hit me like that. He hit me all on my face, and my head, my top of my head, my side, my back, and he was just swinging and swinging and swinging. And my mother, make a long story short, I left, and I went back to a shelter, and after that, I never wanted to come to my mom's house because, first of all, I wasn't going to let him hit me anymore like that. And I couldn't come in the house. But my mother did offer me to come in the house, but I was afraid to come in the house because when I came in the house, I got attacked by him, brutally attacked. And I don't think he was worth for me going to jail, because if I would have came in the house, I wasn't going to let him hurt me like how he hurt me before. It wasn't going to go down like that. And then I had to really think, Geraldine, you're going to kill him. You could kill him or he can kill you. But let's think about Geraldine. If you kill him, you're going to jail. Ain't going to be no self-defense. He's dead. girl, you killed him and you going to jail. And I wasn't going to let that man hit on me like that no more. And I didn't want to go to jail neither because I would have killed him. You know, he caught me the first time. He caught me good. But he ain't going to catch me the second time, you know. And because of that, I really stayed away from my mom. And I wouldn't come to her house. But I realized my mother was in a domestic violence situation. And what's bad about it is that my mother, she didn't come out of it because, well, she saw what happened to me. When I was in the shelter for about maybe like 15 years. 15! But I was so bitter and hateful and angry for being in the shelter for so long, living out in the street, just walking around all day, never having any money, all because I left their father. Girl, my channel was something else. I'm telling you. I lost the custody of my children because they found drugs in my system. One test. They took one test and they found drugs one time and they permanently removed my children. And you know, to the life of me, I don't do drugs. I don't know how they found the drugs in my system. I'm not lying. I don't do drugs. And I see this line in my head. I hope whatever he stabbed me with is not, you know, messing me up. But who cares? No, it's not that who cares. Well, it is what it is. And I had a lot of anger. She saw how long I was in that shelter for, all those years. And not just that. You know, it was court drama. It was a lot of stuff I was going through. That's why I was very angry. Very angry. Very angry. And I lost myself. You know, I lost myself. I lost everything. This is my mother pajamas. This is her blanket. This is her house. This is her couch I'm sitting on. They found drugs in my system. They removed my little babies and they gave my babies to this Jamaican. They gave my kids to this man. And when he got the custody of my children, it blew my mind. He wanted the custody of my children. I can't believe it. Because it was my home, my apartment. And the city, the judge, and you know they was white. You know, I hate to say it like that when they're not black. Gave my babies to a man who wasn't even providing for them. And see, that's why I can understand my mother, why she didn't leave him, you know, because we come from a different era. See, this is this new stuff that the government is doing to the women who not married, poverty women. This is the new stuff they doing. But when my mom was growing up, and raising me, and I was a young child growing up, I never saw the father take the children. I never knew of a man taking the children. See, this is new age. But see, in my age, when I was growing up, in my era, it wasn't going down like that. And so when I lost the custody of my kids, it blew my mind because, number one, I don't do drugs. Number two, I was a very good mother. My life was their kids. See, I lost myself there too. I was so busy taking care of my children, my little babies, on welfare with no money. So whatever money I got, I gave it to them. Whatever money I got, it always went to them. I never took care of myself. I wanted to. I was like, I can't though because their birthdays coming, school clothes need to come up. Oh, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, here come Easter. You know, I'm American. I made sure that my kids had. They had it all. My kids was very well raised. And they was very well taken care of by me. And when I got tired of living with a man who wasn't helping me, because he wasn't helping me. He wasn't, I'm young. I had my own apartment. I had one daughter. And I met this guy. He was older than me. He had a job and everything. Not that I was looking for him as a meal ticket. I actually liked him. He was okay. He was kind of cute. He was kind of handsome in a way. And I had my own apartment. I was with one daughter, and I had one child at that time. And I liked him. He wasn't smoking weed. He wasn't drinking. He was just working. And I liked him. I didn't say I was in love with him. I said I liked him. I liked him a lot. I liked him very much. And I brought him into my apartment. And then we had 2 more children. Within time, we had 2 more kids. And he wasn't doing right by me. I had to realize I was playing wifey with this man, but I wasn't a wife, and he wasn't treating me right, and I wanted out of the relationship. So eventually I kicked him out of my apartment, and he got vindictive and took me to family court, and they took away I lost the custody of my kids, and they took my kids, and they gave my kids to this man, and it was terrible that I didn't get the anger at first. I was trying to survive the shelter system because I never knew nothing about no shelter system. So, I have a lot of baggage. But I have a lot of baggage because of other people. And people want to say, Geraldine, you got to take account for what you did and the part that you played. But see, with me, I could do that, but I can't do that because every time I think about what the part that I played, I wasn't happy in the relationship, so I told him he had to leave. And then oh my God, he started stalking me. It was crazy. I found myself in a domestic violence situation, and and when he took my kids, when he won custody, he took my rights away from being a mother. So, I didn't get to raise my children, and I only saw him in the. I didn't get to see my kids. I didn't get to raise my kids. I didn't get no pictures, no school pictures. No, come on, I'm American, and as a black woman, there's certain things that we do as mothers. They took all that away from me, and he took me to court, and they took my kids. It didn't go that fast, neither. It's dragged out. It was dragged out, and all that anger that I had all them years just came out of me. And I had so much anger. And I had so much disappointment. And I was so blah, 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 blah. I was just so mad at the way how I was treated. What could I have did different? I could have stayed in that apartment. But I thought I was going to get killed. If I knew I would stay 15 years, I think I would have stayed in that apartment. And maybe I don't know if I would have been here right now. I don't know. I can't say. Because it was a messed up situation that was going on back then. And I can't say, but I think I would have stayed in that apartment. If I knew I was going to lose my 3 children, if I knew I was going to lose my whole life living in the shelter for the next 15 years, when I left my children's father, I was a young mother, and it's so messed up. It's so messed up. And I was so angry after I came out the shelter system at a lot of things. I was mad at the kid's father. I was mad at the system. And that's how I changed. That helped me to start changing from a nice, naive, praise girl, praise Lord, believing, praying, and I just changed. I changed. It was other reasons. It was other things that made me change too. But I changed from getting the taste of the system. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know they get down like that. And I lost a lot. Her and I'm glad to say, before she died, my mother and I, we connected. She wasn't going to leave him because she's older than me. and she's sickly. She wasn't going to leave that man because she didn't know what was going to happen to her. When she saw what happened to me, how long I stood in the shelter, my mother wasn't leaving. She wasn't leaving. So you know what? I don't blame her, because as a woman, if I would have known I had to stay in the shelter so long, would I have stayed with my children? Would I have left? No, because that was my apartment. I wouldn't have left. So when my mother didn't leave her husband, I understood her, because I'm a woman. You know, I understood my mother. And I understood her. And she black too. I understood my mom. She have a home. She has a nice home. I'm going to show it to y'all. I think the home is nice. And I have so much on my plate when my mother was alive. So I could have, been thinking about, like, Mom, let's look at that. Like, family, let's look at that. There's no pictures of me in the house. Don't you see something wrong with that issue? That at all. And that's one thing that I noticed about Caribbean men. And I'm sorry, because I'm going from my own experience. With my kid's father, who's Jamaican, he didn't care about me and our kids. He didn't care about me and my family compared to how he cared about the family in Jamaica. Because every time you turn around, everything was going to Jamaica. And the same thing with my mother's husband. Once he got a home, he was like, I don't want nobody coming up in here. I pay all the bills. Nobody can't even spend the night. Like, huh? Why you so selfish like that? But we didn't see all of that now. No, I'm going to say I didn't see all of that. So it seems like my kid's father, the Jamaican man, and my mother husband was more like that, to see us stay down and not uplift us up, but they uplift their self and what they love, their country and their people. But my mother, I was telling my mother, look, that's what he's doing, because I noticed that from my kid's father. But my mother, she didn't really see it. She didn't see it until one day he brought in his niece and didn't tell my mother. And he was letting he tried to make his niece live here past a month, where my mother had a hard time. Or if my mother would have spoke on it, the courts would have gave them a hard time. You just can't kick nobody out after a month. Now here it is, my mother not really walking. This was before she really got bedridden. She not really walking, but he gonna bring his niece to live here. My mother was like, yo, Geraldine, I don't know what's going on with, I'm going to say his name. But you know what? He been doing all this shopping, buying all this stuff in the house. I said, so Ma, you buying stuff in the house? What you mean? You don't know why he buying? He not taking me shopping. He just bringing stuff to the house. I said, well, why he doing all that? I don't know. Then we found out his niece came here. I said, Ma, you didn't know the niece was coming? No, he didn't tell me the niece was coming over. Well, Ma, how long she been there? Well, she been here 3 weeks. I said, Ma, she making another week. You know it's going to be hard to kick her out, right? So you see what I'm trying to say about these kind of men here? They look out for self and theirs. So here my mother husband is living with her. He came into our life. I was only 15 years old. He came living in my mother and father apartment when my mother and father split up. He came living in our apartment because what I was going through with my kid's father and what my mom was going through with her husband. But, I feel the United States should change when it comes down to killing somebody in self-defense. I'm in their house now, but I'm not going to say their house because my mother, she survived her husband. So isn't this her house technically? I'm in her house now. I'm in my mother's house. My kids are grown and I'm in my mother's house. And I'm in my mother's house now, sitting in her house. you know, there's a lot of emotions going on with me right now with that. And eventually, if you hang out with me, you find out more. But the United States need to take a chill pill and reanalyze things, especially when it comes down to family. What I said pertaining to the courthouse and white people, you know, Jamaicans, immigrants, when it came down to my children, how they did me. I just want to say, you know, white people, we say white people, but you have a lot of blacks that's different. Like, I'm American black and he's Jamaican black, but we black, but we different. So you have a lot of white people too that's different. You have Italians, you have Russian, and you have Jews. You have Caucasian whites that live on Fifth Avenue, but you also have Jews. And a lot of Jews have a lot of things. And they live in our black community. They live in our community. They travel, just like everybody else who travel into the United States. And they get nice jobs. They get very good jobs because maybe the color of their skin, like white. Some Jew girls look white, right? Some Jew girls look white and you don't even know that they're Jewish. Or whatever, Russian. No, you can tell Russian girls, they look different. But some Jew people really do look white. And the only thing I got to say is, with all that stuff happening in the courthouse, you heard me say, you know, white people. But I also got to look at it. It could have been a Jew that did it to me. Because the Jews they're very powerful. They got a lot of nice jobs. And if a Jew person did this to me in court, even the judge could have been Jew. You know, I don't know, but she wasn't black. I know that much. What I'm trying to say is that a Jew could have did it to me too. Took my kids from me illegally. Why would somebody want to do something like that? Have a better life, right? I mean, you gotta look at it. You got all these immigrants, especially the black ones, that leave their children behind and they come to America, as to say, to be provided for. But then they come to America, they take all the American jobs. And look how I got treated by a bunch of immigrants who left their kids behind to come up here. They probably was jealous. And they came and they had the jobs and they destroyed the house. They destroyed my home. Because I can't figure it out why you did that to me. But it came to me. Because you're immigrants, even Jews. So even Jews, you know, you destroyed my life so you can have a better life. Lord knows y'all got the biggest parade up here in New York. That's what I wanted to say. So, white people, you know, you gotta say who doing things, because not everybody's white doing it. It could be a Jew. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.